Good evening, Mr. Banville.
Good evening.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Lovely October evening, my favourite time of year.
I believe you're not a fan of the summer.
No, I hate the summer.
Why is that?
Because it's boring. The world is not doing anything. Midwinter is wonderful. Midwinter you can feel the ground shaking with preparation for the spring. But I don't like spring because it's too exciting. This is the perfect time of year to work.
It's coming into the winter.
And unfortunately I have to travel all over the bloody world. But anyway.
I'm jealous. You must be delighted with yourself recently being awarded the Príncipe de Asturias Award.
It's a great honour, of course. Yes, great honour. I'm very, very proud, very pleased. Yeah, it's one of the big European awards, and I'm very glad to have it.
Does this give you some kind of encouragement that you once said that you feel embarrassed by your books when they're published? You feel a sense of embarrassment. When you receive an award like this, and the Man Booker Prize in 2005 and so forth, does this give you some kind of, I suppose, reassurance about your work and how good?
No, I'm afraid not. I wish it did. Getting literary prizes and awards is like getting the biggest Christmas present that any child in the town has. All prizes are consolation prizes, but they don't impinge on the work at all.
Is it a very different form to, I suppose, writing under the name of Benjamin Black?
Well, I chose a different name because the writing is so different. It's craft work. It has no pretensions to literature or to poetry or anything else. Banville never quite knows what he's doing, but he knows he wants to be something more than a craftsman, whereas Benjamin Black doesn't. So I'm quite pleased with the Black books.
Is it a form of escapism for you, do you think?
I wish it were.
Yeah.
Writing can never be escapism. It is so difficult. So difficult.
The recent novel, The Black-Eyed Blonde, talk to me about that.
And that was a kind of escapism, actually, now that you mention it. I was able to escape into somebody else's style, somebody else's method of working, and that was fascinating. I didn't know that I could do it until I did it, and I was quite proud of that too. And it was great fun. I wouldn't do it again. It was a one-off, but it was great fun while I was doing it.
Do you think it was quite a challenge for yourself to kind of take the Raymond Chandler novels and then recreate them as your own under the Philip Marlowe novels?
Well, I should be humble and say yes, but no. I don't do humility very well. I had been reading Chandler all my life. His voice was in my head. He has a very distinctive style. It would be very difficult to write a follow-up to, say, a John Coetzee book, because Coetzee works very hard at not having a style at all, having this limpid prose. But Chandler is very immediately identifiable style. You read 2 or 3 lines of Chandler and you know where you are. And that's always easier to imitate.
Has there been talk about, I suppose, adapting it to screenplay or to the big...
Well, I'm hoping. Yes. George Clooney, make a wonderful Marlowe. Any number of actresses could play the Black-Eyed Blonde.
Any in mind that you would have?
Many of them, but I don't know. I think that there's a difficulty in that anybody playing Marlowe now will be compared to Humphrey Bogart. And also, I think that the young don't know about the period anymore. I mean, the period of the 1940s, 1950s has largely disappeared from consciousness now for the under 60s. And they're the people who go to the movies now.
With regards to going back to Benjamin Black, you have recreated the Raymond Chandler novels, Philip Marlowe. The pathologist, Quirk. Talk to me about Quirk, the pathologist itself. I mean,
well, Quirk is a dark, troubled character, unhappy, damaged, doesn't know his origins, or suspects what his origins are and doesn't want to know. Very much a man of his time. I remember people like him in the 50s when I was growing up, professional people who drank too much, were filled with self-loathing, who didn't have the courage to stand up to the church or to the politicians whom the church ran as if they were racehorses. So he was a very typical figure of his time. And when I started doing those books, I promised myself that I wouldn't give Quirk or the other characters the benefit of my hindsight. They don't know that they're in something called the 1950s, a dark time. They're just living through the day. People 30, 40 years from now will talk about our time. It will have become the past for them.
Mm-hmm.
But the Quirk is living in his present, and I have to write without giving him knowledge that he couldn't have in his own time.
Is it easy to slip in and out from writing from John Banville to Benjamin Black? Can you do that maybe in a day's writing? You sit in your studio, you sit in Bachelor's Walk. Is it easy for you to change characters very quickly?
Well, I don't do. What I do now is I'm always writing a Banville book, so I will put that aside and spend three or 4 months writing the Benjamin Black book.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do them both at the same time.
Is it easier for you to churn out more books under Benjamin Black?
It is easier, of course. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
It's a simpler style, and as I say, Black has no artistic pretensions.
How does John Banville switch off?
He doesn't. I work 24 hours a day.
Really?
Yeah.
It's an impossibility.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is to
mm-hmm.
to be an artist, to be that kind of writer. You work while you're asleep and while you're awake. I'm working now.
Thinking of your next plot, is that right?
It's not so much thinking. It's a state of being alert to everything, missing nothing. Henry James, he said to artists, to writers, try to be a person on whom nothing is lost. So we watch everything, and we listen to everything, and absorb it all. We're not even aware that we're listening or watching, but that's how we gather material.
You started writing at a very young age, 12, 13.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what was your main inspiration?
Oh, I had read Joyce's Dubliners, and I started to try to imitate them because I was so impressed by them. They
mm-hmm.
were about life as I recognized it.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I tried to be a 12-year-old James Joyce. Didn't succeed.
Mm-hmm. If you could go back, John Banville, and revisit yourself at 12 or 13-year-old, is there any advice that you would give yourself?
I'd probably say don't become a writer, become something else. Become something that will be easier to make a living at.
Yeah.
No. That's a way of asking me would I have done things differently. No, I don't think so. I would probably have made myself go to university.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid not to do that because I missed those 3 or 4 years of...
Why do you think university was important?
You need those 3 or 4 years when you're a student and you're irresponsible and you're sleeping too late in the mornings and you're
mm-hmm.
finding yourself.
Yeah.
I miss that, and I miss it now.
Mm-hmm. What's next for you, Mr. Banville? Will it be staying writing Philip Marlowe novels? Will it be?
I'll never write another Philip Marlowe novel.
No.
I've just finished a Benjamin Black book. I will be finished a John Banville book by the end of the year, I hope.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think next year I'm going to take a year off from books, and I'm going to do screen work, and I might do a play. That's my plan at the moment. Probably come the new year I'll change it and just start writing again. But that's my plan at the moment.
How do you feel when you see your novels up on the big screen? Does it make you proud? Is it kind of strange?
Oh, I'm thrilled to see them on screen, of course. Yeah, I've always loved the cinema, and even television now is so good.
Any upcoming writers that you would look at that you could see that you could for the next John Banville? Would you say?
I don't keep up, so
No.
I can't say.
Mm-hmm.
And even if I did, I wouldn't say.
Really?
Well, it would be invidious.
Mm-hmm. Do you read critics? Do you read reviews of yourself?
Never.
Why is that?
Not interested.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I finish a book, especially if it's a Banville book, I've been wrestling with it for 3, 4, 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can tell me anything about it that I don't know, and I'm my own harshest critic. So.
It's not something you're going to do.
But as I always say, you can always depend on your best friends to tell you about the really bad reviews.
Mm-hmm. Anything on your bucket list? Anything that you would like to accomplish in your lifetime that you haven't already done?
I'd like to make a really fine film, and now I'd like to do a play. I like the theatre. But I'm slightly nervous of it. But I love the notion of real live people, if actors are real live people, speaking lines that I've written. There's a magic in that that never fades, never palls.
No consideration about learning Spanish?
That's my great shame in life. I have no languages, and I just have no gift for it. A friend of mine explained that I can't act, that you have to be able to act to speak a foreign language. I comfort myself that this is the case, but I think it's just laziness and inability and insecurity.
Mr. Banville, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.